All right, all right, all right. Shalom. Let's check if voice box is good, camera good. All right. All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles, and that was a great millstone, who well and teach well, and big shalom to the hopefully elect out there pushing his word in truth and sincerity, man. Shalom. All right. So there's a lot of lessons going to go into the Koragma for real, right? Because this is a heavy prophecy that's going on, right? Which is gonna be coming to pass, right? Heavily, right? It's gonna be made mandatory one day. You feel me? I'm saying, right? Now people they gotta know. They gotta know what's going on out here, right? Because if they don't, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna fall susceptible and be deceived, right? Right. But according to the scriptures, they're not gonna deceive the very elect, right? Right? They're not gonna deceive us. We are going to stand fast and stand hold and take hold of Yahweh Shem Yahushua salvation. I don't want to that we be of that number. You feel me? Now I'm going to the scriptures right quick. All right. This is Revelation chapter 13. All right. We'll start from verse 11. Revelation 13:11. Right. It says, "And I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon." Right. Right? Now you look at today's time, right? And two horns, right? And Democrats and Republicans, right? Back then in ancient Rome, right? The beast before, right? It was plebeians and patricians, right? They was in power, right? The two factions, right? It's still the same horn, right? It's still the same beast, right? Same beast. I mean, right? The same motherfuckers, right? And they spake as a dragon. They make they fucking draconian laws, man. Their laws are draconian, right? Draco, dragon, all right? Now, right, it says he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, Rome, the ancient Roman Empire, man. That's the first beast before, right? It says, and he causes and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, right? The deadly wound was healed when they came back into power in the Renaissance. Remember, the Lord bound their ass up for 1,000 years, right in the bottomless pit, which is Europe, right in the mountains. They drove them forth. They drove them far away, far as fuck away, and they hid in the mountains, man. Right, right. Job said we cried out to them as a thief, right. Right. So we drove them from the earth, right, which we did ultimately, which the spirit of Yahweh Shai did that, right. We all know that, okay, right. And Yahweh Shai is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, the so-called Negro from the tribe of Judah, right, of the Israelites, right. It says, um, whose deadly wound was healed, right. He came back into power during the Renaissance period. You know what I'm saying? Took over, right. He was set to be loose for a short time to deceive the world, in which he's doing a good job at deceiving the world. He's doing a great job. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his job. Satan is doing his job, right. Right. It says, and he do a great wonder so that he make a fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, right? Now you think about that. That's World War II for real. You know what I'm saying? You make Hiroshima, Nagasaki, bro. Nagasaki, right? They dropping atomic weapons on fucking whole civilizations and shit. And vaporizing, right? Right. Verse 14, he says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, right? Which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Right. This man got his cancer treatment centers, his technologies, right? His jets, his fighter planes, his drones, his bots. You know what I'm saying? He got all type of medicines, right? All these line wonders, his charagma ultimately, right? To make the paraplegic walk, make the blind see, You know what I'm saying? Lying wonders by the means of those miracles, right? They do in the side of the beast. And we know the beast is Europe, right? And 10 horns. Right? It says, saying unto them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by the sword and they live, right? These people had a wound, right? So grievous to them. And the empire fell. They lost the war, right? And they was driven forth from among men, right? Right? They came back into power. And now you gotta worship this new way of life we got. Or you can get killed by the sword, right? Esau, when he first came into power, he came what? He came to the Americas and was killing by the sword. You gonna serve Caesar Borgia, or nigga, you gonna die. Right? He was doing that to our people, man. You know what I mean? Right? It says, which had his wound by the sword, did live, and he had power to give life to the image of the beast, right? Right? And transhumanism, right? Your fucked up ass ways, man. Right? This Babylonian lifestyle, man. This new way of life, man. Right? This transhumanism, charagma, hip, right? Everything adverse to the Lord, right? You know what I'm saying? The American dream, right? Right? And a part of that image is their God, right? Caesar, right? So-called white Jesus and Christianity and these different fucking religions. You have so many, it's so many fucking religions you can have here, right? Instead of serving the true power, this is how you know it's the image, bro. It's part of the image, right? It's a part of it. It's not the full thing, okay? All that compact together will be the full image, right? Including the mark of the beast, which is the RFID microchip, and and the Neuralink, and all these digital implantable C hips. You know what I'm saying? Let me check the comment board right quick. Anybody here? Any scriptures? Just post them up. You hear me? Right? It says, and he had power to give life into the image of the beast, that the image of both speak and cause as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. Right? We saw the first glimpse of that when the conquistadors came over here and was killing. You know what I'm saying? For not worshiping their God. You know what I'm saying? Right? It says he calls us all, both small and poor. I mean, small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive a mark. Right? He calls it. Right? He calls it. Now we're going to go to that word cause. All right. We can go to that word cause of, right? It says to make, right? To fashion, right? To make ready, to prepare, right? Right? He's preparing your ass to take that chip. You know what I'm saying? He's slowly digitalizing everything. Um, what did Donald Trump say? I'm gonna pull it up right quick. I took a screenshot, right? It says 6G will sense human presence and track movement and monitor breathing through walls, right? 6G is officially under development. So they getting ready to put this 6G shit on the cell towers, man, on your Wi-Fi boxes, and your TVs, man, and your cable boxes, and your cell phones, man. If it's not already there, right? But they're gonna upgrade it, right? Um, as a brother that I know, he used to work on cell towers, right? And he seen the 5G system shit, right? How the 5G worked. And on the 5G cell tower shit, it said the B system on it. It said the B system. Crazy, right? Fucking crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Right? Sweden implants microchips in the hands of thousands of people to replace IDs, right? Credit cards, keys, and wallets. You know what I'm saying? He calls a fall, right? Right? He calls a fall. They call up all the people, and it's gonna be made mandatory one day once the dollar drop, right? Once they de-dollarize the currency, right? Devalue the currency, it's officially gonna be a digital end thing, a digital end all. You know what I'm saying? A digital end all be all. You feel me? And our people are going to be thrown for a loop because they don't even know what's going on for real. They really don't. You know what I'm saying? Our people going to be so fucked up in the mind, right? Right by that time, right, the prophets be off the highways and byways, man. The prophets be gone. Prophets ain't out here no more, right? The prophets don't be done packed up and dipped. You know what I'm saying? You can't get this water no more, man. Right? Our people gonna be fainting of thirst, right? Like in Amos, right? Right, Amos chapter, I believe is 8. Let me go see right quick. Amos 8 and I believe it's 11. Yep. Yeah, Amos 8 and 11. It says, Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Bashem Yahushua power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor of thirst for water, but of hearing the words of Yahweh. Right? So you gonna fucking suffer, man. Right? You had all that time, right? This grace period, this precious grace period to get the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, right? Right? You had all that time, but refused, man. You chose Caesar. You chose white Jesus. You ain't choose Yahweh Shai. Right? You ain't believe on him as the scripture has said. You chose you chose otherwise. You chose to do idolatry, man. Right? You chose Yahuwah, right? You chose Elohim, right? You choose Joshua, right? But we know what we choose. We choose Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. That's the true names. You feel me? That's the true names, right? Right. Verse 12 says, They shall wander from sea to sea, from north even to the east, and shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh and shall not find it. So you ain't gonna find us. You ain't gonna find us on the highways uh, and byways no more. You gonna find out that these words were true, but it's gonna be too late. Right? All hell done broke loose. Right? The charagma has been made mandatory. The prophets will be hunted down. You know what I'm saying? Locked up or put to death for refusing and speaking against his wicked ass kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Right? It says in that day, the fair virgins and young men shall faint for thirst. Right? This is considered to be rivers of living water. These the scriptures, the understanding of the scriptures right here, man. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. It's considered to be the understanding, bro. The proper understanding, the proper knowledge. And they refused it. So in that time of the calamity, you know what I'm saying? They gonna have to they gonna have to suffer. They gonna have to suffer the consequences, man. Right? And they're gonna be hurt. They're gonna be hurting, right? It's gonna cause them to suffer, man. Right? And they gonna know it by death by pain.
Oh, it's still going. Okay, okay. These niggas just put me out my own shit. Alright, fuck them. Right, but Salakia, yo. Right, but we'd rather die. We'd rather get put in that fucking furnace. We'd rather get our head chopped off, basically. You know what I'm saying? What I was just saying. Right? We would rather get put to death than to worship the beach of the image, man. I mean, the image of the beast. Right? Verse 7, Second Maccabees, um, chapter 7, verse 1, it says, "And it came to pass also that 7 brethren and their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to take swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips." Right? Right? King Antiochus, right? Epiphanes, right? He was having our people put to death for not serving the idolatrous feast. You know what I'm saying? Right? Serving this nigga birthday, which is idolatry in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Clear idolatry, right? And they refused. They had the balls enough to stand courage and courageously to die for Yahweh Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? Right, verse 2, right? It says, "But one of them spake first and said, Thus, what dost thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than transgress the laws of our fathers," right? Right? We would rather die than to transgress Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai's ways, man. You know what I mean? We would rather get put to death. You know what I mean? We would rather fight to the bitter end, right? And to receive our crown for our loyalty and our willingness to stand on what we believe in, man. The willingness to stand on righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Right. Um, it says, then verse 3, then the king enraged in a rage commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot, right? So hey bro, cook up this grease right quick. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying basically. Oh, y'all wanna celebrate, y'all wanna bow down to what I'm doing, right? What I got going on. Put the torture chamber together. You know what I'm saying? Right? It says, which forthwith being heated, he commanded to cut off the tongue of him that spake first. Right? Right? So they were torturing our people, bro. These Edomites was torturing our people harshly. You know what I'm saying? Right? It says, cut off the tongue of him that spake first, and cut off the uttermost parts of his body. The rest of his brother and his mother looking on. So they killed that man. They cut his tongue out. They cut his body parts out. You know what I'm saying? They chopped his ass up, bro. That's fucked up, right? Right? And these Edomites hold themselves not guilty, man. Right? Right? But they don't have no repentance for sin. So all that shit that they did in the past lives and the lives before that, right? And this life, they gotta repay all of that. You know what I'm saying? It says now when he was thus maimed, all his members, he maimed at all his members, he commanded him being yet alive. He was still alive. The man was still alive and they cut all his body parts off, man. They cut his tongue out, everything, right? He says to be brought into the fire and to be fried in the pan, and as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, man. So that shit was burning hot for a hot minute, right? It says they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, right? So they died manfully. They died with a hunk of balls. They had the cojones, right? They had them cojones on them, right? A lot of our people would have gave up easily when they first saw the blade, when they first saw the chains, right? The torture chairs and shit, man. Right? The axes, man. They would have fucking froze up and said, "Fuck it." You know what I mean? Right? It says he commanded him being yet alive to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan, right? And as the vapor of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus, the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai look up upon us, right? Right? He says, in truth have comforted us, right? The spirit on them was comforted by Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. They had the spirit on, right? Right? They knew what they was dying for. They knew, like, hey, we die, we ultimately we gonna be in the kingdom, right? We gonna get, you know what I'm saying, we gonna get a hundredfold. You feel me? Right? It says, as Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declaring, saying, and he shall be comforted in his servants. Right? Right? So when the first was dead, after this manner, they brought the second to make a mocking stock. So they was fucking while they was torturing, they was fucking getting on them. You know what I'm saying? They were frying them, they were joning them. You know what I'm saying? They was laughing and scoffing and shit. Right? Right? You know what I'm saying? These brothers got fucked up. They got fucked up real bad. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? Right? It says let's see. It says, and when they pulled off the skin of his head with the hair, they asked him, wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body? Right? Right? He basically said, yo, is you gonna eat this fucking pork and celebrate my fucking birthday before I cut your ass all the way up, cut all your limbs off? Right? Hell no. You know what I'm saying? Verse 8, he said, but he answers in his own tongue and said, no. What's the Hebrew tongue for no? La'ah. He said la'ah, right? He said la'ah. No, right? He says, thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the king of the world shall rise us up, right? Out of one Yahweh Shai is going to raise us from the dead, right? If we do be dead, right? If we die for Yahweh Shai, right? And this time, for not taking the Karagma, right? We gonna come back with him in the chariot, and we ultimately gonna be in fucking mortal. We gonna be immortal, bro. You know what I'm saying? Right? The sting of death is just for a moment. You feel me? Right? After you die, then what? Right? You got peace with the Heavenly Father, man. You sleeping with your fathers. You know what I'm saying? In the spiritual realm. Not no fucking place under the ground and shit where you burning and cooking with fucking demons and shit. No, hell no. That's Greek mythology, yo. Right? Right? You know what I'm saying? It says after him, the third was made a mocking stock. So that brother died too. That brother died. Right? That brother died, man. Right? It says after him the third made a mocking stock, and he was required. He put out his tongue that and that right soon. Right? So he like, nigga, hurry up. Take my tongue, hurry up. And holding his hands forth, right? You hold forth his hands manfully, like, huh, take it. Right? The Lord gonna give me these back. Right? You can give me these back. Right? It says, and said courageously, these I had from heaven. For his laws I despise them. It says, for his laws I despise them, and from him I hope to receive them again. Right? Right. So hey man, we fucked up. Ultimately, we getting punished. Right. This is the judgment of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. But through our faith and keeping and trying to keep it, right, be thou faithful unto death. Right. 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 Then we gonna get a crown of life for that. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to be, because we can't get it right until we perfect in immortal bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like we sure can't. Feel me? But anyway, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Um, It says, I so much that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for for that he nothing regarded the pains, right? He ain't feel nothing. He ain't even feel nothing, right? He willingly went to the torture, right? And then feel nothing, right? The Lord took his pain away from him. He took the pain away from him. So he willingly died manfully, bro. Right? He ain't going screaming, crying like a bitch like most of you niggas. Right? Hell no. Hell no. You're not doing that. You feel me? Right? Um, it says, now then, now when this man was also dead also. They tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner, right? Right? So when he was ready to die, he said, thus it is good being put to death by men to look for hope from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai to be raised up again, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be raised up again because what? Psalms, I believe it's Psalms 116. Psalms chapter 116 and 15, I believe. Right? Yeah. Right? It says, precious in the sight of Yahweh is the death of his saints. All right. All right. We know who the saints are, the Israelites. Right? Psalms 148 and 14. Right? Specifies. You feel me? Now, um, right, it says, right, to rise up again by him, right? As for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life. Right? So Esau, Edom, you not gonna have no resurrection to life. You not gonna be fucking immortal. You will never be immortal. You will always die over and over again. And number one, you going into slavery. Number two, after your slavery, you going extinct. Right? There shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau. Okay? Afterward, they brought the fifth also and mangled them. Right? Right? It's five down. You know what I'm saying? Right? It says, then looked he into the king, right, and said, thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Right? Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of the Most High. Right? But it says, but abide a while and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. Right? We're going to torment their ass in the kingdom. We're going to torment they and their children, yo. Right? They're going to torment them and their children, man. You know what I mean? We gonna fuck them up, bro. Right? It says after him also they brought the six, who being ready to die, and said, be not deceived without cause. We suffer these things for ourselves, right? Right? Because we ultimately went off, right? We got to suffer punishments, right? Like the wages of sin is death. You know what I mean? You transgress the laws of the Lord, and that's death. You know what I mean? Right? It says, for we suffer these things ourselves, having sinned against our power. Right? Therefore, marvelous things are done to us. Right? It says, but think not that thou takest in hand to strive against the Most High. It says, thou shalt escape the punish. Right? You not finna go out unpunished, bro. The wicked shall, they throw hands on their hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. Right? You niggas gonna get it. Y'all gonna fucking get it. All right? It says, but the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. Right? For when she saw her 7 sons slain with the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage, right? Because of hope that she had in the Lord, right? So Yahweh Shai was with, right? Yahweh Shai was with the sons, right? That's all good. That's all good. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. You know what I mean? Because they're going to be resurrected to life, right? It says, yea, and sorted every one of them in their own language, filled with the courageous spirits, right? Stirring up her womanish stomachs or womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She has said unto them, right? It says, I cannot tell you how I came, how you came into my womb, for neither have I gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you, but doubtless the Creator of the world, who formed the generation of man, found out the beginning of all things, right? So, hey, we all know that we can't create life, you know what I'm saying, right? The Lord creates life, you know what I'm saying? He has that power, you feel me, right? It says also, um, yeah. It says, but doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of man, and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, right? Reincarnation, right? This was the Greek captivity, right? They know he was gonna come back again, right? Right. As you know, regard not your own selves for his law's sake. All right, right? Because hey, we fucked up, right? So we gotta suffer, man. We gotta fucking suffer, right? Right. And as for the heathen nigga, you through, man. You touched the apple of the Lord's eye, man. Right. Um, verse 24. Antiochus, thinking himself despised, and suspecting it to be a reproachful speech, while the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would be both Shalak. It says that he would make him both a rich and a happy man if he would turn from the laws of his fathers, and also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs, right? Like, I'm gonna make you. He told you I'm gonna give you. He was gonna give you my trick bag. You're like, yeah, man, I'm gonna give you the sellout bag. You know what I mean, right? I'm gonna give you the sellout bag. You can goddamn go. You know what I'm saying? You can be rich. You know what I mean? If you just sell out, right? If you denounce the Lord for real, right? Right. But it says, but when the young man would in no case hearken unto him, the king called his mother to exhort her, and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. Right? He says, and when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. Right? 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 He says, but she knowing, she bowing herself towards him, laughing the cruel tyrant to scorn. Right? She was cooking his ass. She was basically laughing at this nigga. Right? Right? She was laughing at this nigga for real. Like, we ain't about to fucking nigga. You got me fucked up. Right? Right? It says, speaking her country language on this manner, O my son. Right? Have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb. Right? And gave thee suck 3 years. Right? And nourished thee. And I brought thee up unto this age and endured the troubles of education. Right? This is our baby. Right? This is our youngest boy. Right? He says, I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and earth and all therein, right? And consider that Yahweh Shem Yahushua made them of the things that were not, right? He says, and so was mankind made likewise, right? Fear not this tormentor, being worthy of thy brethren, and take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren, right? So they back again today in the reincarnation. You know what I'm saying? They back whoever they may be out here, right? They in the truth right now. Guarantee you, right? They in the truth right now as we speak. You know what I'm saying? Whoever they may be, right? You know what I'm saying? It says, while she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, whom wait ye for? It says, I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandments and laws of Yahweh Shem Yahushua that was given to our fathers by Moses, man. Right? Right? So they all went out, right? Right. So I'm running out of time here. Right. Hopefully that was an edifying lesson. Right. We gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai Bahashim Kahakadash, the 11th apostles, knows the great millstone, who will well and teach well, and Shalom.